Hello, my friends. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, in his book The Discovery of India, writes about religion, philosophy, and science in the context of their importance and in the scope of building modern India. He says we should not shy off to shed dead leaves of past if past has served its purpose and now it is not more than an encumbered experience, then we must shed it. But here he awakes us to not to forget our history, our culture, and the myriad experiences of our past which have built our ancient race and lie embedded in our subconscious mind. He awakes us to not to forget our great forefathers, their literature, art and culture, their love to truth and beauty, and the basic values they set up. We should not forget them. We should not cease to take pride in that noble heritage. If India forgets them, she will no longer remains India, and the most of the things which made her our pride and joy will cease to be. Pandit Nehru further brings our notice to the unfortunate condition of India. He says all the dirt and dust of ages which have covered her up and hidden her inner beauty and petrified her spirit, set it in the rigid frames and stunted her growth, needed to cut away. But we have to remember a fresh core of that ancient wisdom and adapt it in our present circumstances. We should not avoid to change that outdated thought and living because we have to participate in the human race of achievements which is far ahead of any national boundary. We are old to the dawn of human history and endeavor, but we have to grow young again in the tune of present with irrepressible joy and spirit of the youth in the present and its faith in the future. Truth has to be living life for humanity, supplying essential need for which it craves and offering guidance for the present and for the future. He almost wants the future generation of India, in the words of Aurobindo Ghosh, as he says, every truth, however true in itself, yet taken apart from others, which at once limit and completes it, become a snare to blind the intellect and a misleading dogma, for in reality every one is a thread of a complex weft, and no thread must be taken apart from the weft. Pandit Nehru further justifies his opinion about religion as he says, religion have helped greatly in the development of humankind. They have laid down principles and values for guiding human life. But with good, all the good they have done, they have also tried to imprison the truth in set forms and dogmas, encourages practices and ceremonials which soon lose all their original meanings and mere become a ritual. They have discouraged man from trying to understand the unknown, and not just the unknown, but what might comes in the way of social efforts. Instead of encouraging thought and inquiry, they have preached principle of submission. Too much dependence on supernatural agency which ordains everything has led to a certain irresponsibility on social plane. Emotionally and sentimentally have taken place of thought and inquiry. Religion, in spite of innumerable comfort it has brought to human life, it has also checked the tendency to change and progress inherent in human society. On the next paragraph, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru mentions his ideas of philosophy. As he says, philosophy has filled many of the pitfalls of religion by encouraging thought and inquiry, but usually it lives in its ivory tower, cut off from life and its day-to-day problems, and concentrating on its ultimate purpose and failing to connect with the life of man. Science has ignored the ultimate purpose and looked at the fact alone. Interpreting the science of modern world, Pandit Nehru says, man has become a geological force to change the face of planet Earth, physically, chemically, and many other more ways. But when this sorry scheme of things seemed entirely in his grasp to mold it to the heart's desire, some vital was missing and some essential was lack, because science has no knowledge of the ultimate purpose and even no understanding of the immediate purpose, for science had told us nothing about purpose in life. Applications of science are inevitable and unavoidable for all the people and country in the time, but something more than its application are necessary. that is scientific approach, adventurous yet critical scientific temper, search for truth and new knowledge, refusal to accept anything without testing and trials, the capacity to hold new evidences, not the preconceived theories, and hard discipline of mind. And all this is necessary not merely for the science but for the life and its problem itself. Underscoring the contradiction to religion, Pandit Nehru says religion is the region beyond objective inquiry. It bases itself on intuition and emotions, and then it applies this method to all the things in life and even to those things which are capable of objective inquiry. And thus it creates a theology of itself. The organized religion especially allies itself to theology and often more concerned with its vested interest than on the things of the spirits, and encourages disbelief on thought and inquiry, and it is very opposite to that of science. It produces narrowness, intolerance, credulity and superstition, emotionalism and irrationalism. It tries to bend, it tries to close and limit the mind of man, and thus creates a dependent and unfree man. Even if God exists, it may be desirable to not to look upon him or to rely upon him. Too much dependence on supernatural causes often led us to the loss of self-reliance and to a blunting of creative ability. And yet, some faith seems necessary on the things of the spirit which is beyond our physical world, some reliance on moral, spiritual and idealistic conceptions, or else we have no purpose or objective in life. Whether we believe in God or not, but it is almost impossible to not to believe in something, whether we call it a life-giving creative force or the vital energy inherent in matter. And at the end, Pandit Nehru says the convoluted mystery of the three, religion, science and philosophy, by giving more explicit narrations. As he says, it is therefore with the approach and temper of science allied to philosophy and with reference to all that lies beyond. Thus we must face life. Man's journey is an odd mixture of joy and sorrow. Thus only can be learned and advance. The travel of soul is a tragic and lonely business. External events and their consequences affect us powerfully, but the greatest shock comes to our mind through inner conflicts and fears. We have to win peace between ourselves and our environment, a peace that is beyond our physical and material world, and that can satisfy our inner urges and the adventurous spirits which have distinguished man ever since it has started its journey through the realms of thought and action. So these are the ideas of Pandit Nehru, and I found it very interesting to understand how he was thinking at the eve of Indian independence in 1946. That's it, my friends. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.